Hello everybody, my name is Primalism, and today I wanted to talk about my 6-year experience of eating raw meat. It just occurred to me the other day that I have been eating raw meat for 6 years, not like all the time, but it's like kind of like intermittent. But I would say that a good 70% of the time, that last 6-year period, I have incorporated some kind of raw meat in my diet. So it's always been there. I don't know the best way to quantify it, but if I had to, that's probably what I say, maybe 70, 80%-ish raw meat. Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you what I eat on a raw primal diet. Very simple, just some raw meat. I've got some raw bone marrow here and some raw organic apples. And I wanted to share some facts, share some of my perspectives, share some things that I do. And maybe these are some things that you guys have thought about as well. But I figured this could also help somebody who is starting to eat raw meat, who has questions, who wants to know if they can do this or do that or whatever. A lot of this stuff is like unconventional stuff that you're not going to get from a lot of other YouTubers, I feel like. I started eating raw meat back in 2018. I was 19 years old. The way that I had found it, I never met anybody who did it in my life. As a matter of fact, I barely even ate meat at all growing up. If I ate it, it was like in a processed meal. It was like, processed meatballs or something like that. So I didn't really have a taste for meat. But I was watching YouTube one day and I was watching Varg Vikernes, the lead singer of Burzum. I guess he was the only guy in Burzum. Maybe I have that wrong. Anyways.
Varg Vikernes, født 11.2.73, dømmes til en straff av fengsel I 21 år.
But he reviewed a debate between Sverige and Vegan Gains, and that had really piqued my interest in the whole topic of diet. So I started watching more and more Sverige videos, and then I found out, this is definitely, the way to go. You see him improve and look healthier and healthier. That was back in like the forest video days or whatever. So that's how I found out about the raw meat. And I've just been doing it ever since.
Provitamin A carotenoids into fully
Can I
formed
stop
vitamin
you?
A. Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't want to talk about the conversion now. I'm just saying, with the simple definition of looking at foods and without putting them in your mouth, if you look at plant foods, there's 50 nutrients at least that you cannot get only if you measure those foods. And that's how you generally define a nutritious diet.
Oh, okay.
And
I get what you're saying.
any diet that has any animal foods is automatically more nutritious. And then we can talk about the conversion.
One thing about when you find raw meat, and this is another point here, is that I feel like once you start eating it, you will always want to go back to it. Like maybe you'll take a break for a while. Like myself, what I'll do is I'll eat like rice and cooked ground beef or vegetables and stuff like that. And I'll after a while you start to feel bad enough. And then ultimately you just go, I'm going to cut that out and go back to the raw meat. I know I can feel better. I know this is what I have to do. I know that there are, it might not be the cheapest diet. It might not be the tastiest diet. There's a lot of concessions that you have to make, but I always go back to it. And I feel like, do you guys have that experience as well? Because there's like no way I couldn't go back to it. It doesn't matter how my lifestyle or diet changes. I'm always going to go back to eating raw meat. The next thing I wanted to talk about, a lot of people ask, like, have you ever gotten sick eating raw meat? I can definitively say that for like the past 3, maybe 4 years, I feel like I really haven't gotten sick at all. Now, for the first couple of years, I definitely do remember having gotten sick, but it would be like small colds, maybe a flu, but it would be like the same stuff that I had before I ate raw meat. So it wasn't like I became dramatically more ill during those first 2 years. It was like a normal lifestyle. But now I feel like I don't get sick at all. So it doesn't matter if I eat raw chicken. It doesn't matter if I eat grocery store meat, I'm not getting sick. I eat raw eggs, I don't get sick. So there's that. How does it taste? This is a question that I get a lot. When you're going to eat raw meat, you're probably wondering to yourself, like, is this going to be absolutely repulsive? Well, to be honest with you, raw meat doesn't taste like much of anything. The hardest part about eating it is the fact that it is slimy. And like if you're eating a raw egg for the first time, it's going to feel like you're swallowing a bunch of wet, and if it's cold, cold mucus. It's not the most exciting experience. The more flavorful foods that I would consider enjoyable, that's going to be things like raw milk, raw butter, high quality raw fat. What else? If you can tolerate like fruit, obviously that's not raw meat, but it's kind of, a lot of people include it into their raw diet. So those things taste delicious. And the foods that are the most flavorful that you might not like, it's going to be like organs, it's going to be liver, it's going to be kidneys, it's going to be brain, which a lot of people actually like brain because it tastes like egg yolks. It's going to be lungs are actually delicious too. But anyways, yeah, so the organs are going to be the most flavorful. Now, I believe that organs are the most flavorful because I think that they're the most nutritious, clearly, and it's the most prized food. And if the animal is healthy, the organs taste incredible. But if the animal's kind of like mediocre, the organs will taste mediocre. And then if the animal is probably really unhealthy, it's going to taste pretty bad. So there's that. But now regular meat that I eat on a day-to-day basis, it has almost no flavor whatsoever. So what I like to do, I like to have like a fermented vegetable with it just to give it some kind of flavor, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable. I know some people who do like mustard or something like that. Or you could do like a beef tartare. If you mix your ground beef or your anything with some kind of seasonings, with like egg yolks, you can make it taste really good. Oh my gosh. When I would cook I used to make chicken Alfredo, and it had a sauce. The Alfredo sauce I would make tastes exactly like this, except this is completely raw. The next thing I want to talk about is like teeth on the primal diet. Like, do you brush your teeth when you eat raw meat? I started out definitely brushing my teeth a lot less than I used to. It'd be like once a day. Sometimes I wouldn't brush my teeth, which is disgusting. And what started happening was when I was drinking a lot of raw milk, is that I would get a lot of plaque buildup, and I'd get a lot of like this white tongue thing. So I'd have to get like a tongue scraper and scrape that off. Maybe that was candida, but I don't know. I think it was just from the milk fat getting stuck on my tongue, but there's that. But the reason why I brush my teeth now is just to avoid the plaque buildup. It's not fun. I'm not sure if you guys have ever tried to like scrape it off, but it like cements onto your teeth. I don't think that it can be good. So I definitely would recommend brushing teeth, even if you eat this way. Now there's a theory that, the plaque buildup on your teeth is just a buildup of toxins that are leaving your brain, which is probably true. But regardless, I feel like it's still a good idea to brush your teeth, get that stuff off. So you have to make some concessions there. And also, guys, you have one set of teeth. Think about it. Are you really going to wanting to risk it? That sounded funny. Are you really wanting to risk it? You have one set of teeth. Do you really want to fuck them up? I would say let's try to avoid it. Let's try to, so I make some concessions. The reason why I really started taking my dental hygiene seriously was because I started working with older people whose teeth were literally rotting out of their heads. And it just really makes you think, like, I only have one set of teeth here. I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to bite the bullet. Like I said, I make some sacrifices. Maybe it's affecting my health negatively in one way, but I don't want to be struggling with having a stinky, rotten, brown, toothless mouth. You know, that's not the kind of life I want to live when I'm an old man. So yeah, I brush my teeth, and until I find a better solution or something that seemingly works, I'm going to keep brushing my teeth. Hair. So I feel like my hair eating raw meat has always been fine. Now, when I started smoking tobacco, drinking lots of whiskey, that's when I noticed my hair started to get a little thinner. So I've taken a step back from there, and I do that a lot less than I used to. But I would say that hair on this diet, it's really hard for me to say. Some people are worried about losing their hair. I still have a full head of hair. Granted, I do believe it's thinner. Maybe it's in my head. I don't know. I'm definitely getting older, so my hairline is slowly moving back. You know, it is what it is. But I'm not sure if I've noticed any significant things with hair. I think I've got relatively good hair genes, so it's hard to say. I know this is a topic people talk about. And along that line, some people, when they start eating like raw meat and primal, they're not going to wash their hair at all, which is, you can definitely try. Now, you're going to look like a greasy little rat who is in the sewers. But you can definitely do it if you'd like to. I don't do it. I do wash my hair. So the next one here is going to be body composition and like what happens to your body. How do you like hold on to weight? This one's kind of relevant to me because I've always been super skinny. I'm still pretty skinny. However, before I started eating raw meat, I was super skinny. I couldn't hold any weight whatsoever. I had never like bulked up and gained weight in my life. The first time I was able to actually gain weight was when I incorporated a lot of raw milk, raw butter, honey, eating pounds of meat a day. That is when I noticed that I was able to finally put on weight. But even now, even though I'm not eating the carbs, my body still maintains a good amount of weight. Maybe this is because I am 25 versus 19. However, I also wanted to say that I feel like it's almost impossible eating the way that I do to have like a gut, to look fat, to look pudgy, or to look anything at all, because you just have this flat look all the time, slightly toned. You look like you go on daily walks and, maybe play some tennis with your friends. Like, you look fine. I feel good. My body feels good. Again, I am 25, so we will see with time. There are the modern lifestyle factors too. I sit down at my desk all day, so that can't be good for my body. And the primal diet, raw meat, is not the cure for everything. I know that. You have to actually move your body too. You can't just eat raw meat. Now, you can get a lot done with raw meat, but, to prevent the symptoms of, this modern, decay and your body breaking down, I feel like you need a little bit of exercise. Get out there and move around a little bit. But overall, when I eat raw meat, I feel I'm very happy with the way that my body looks, and I'm able to hold on to weight better. Again, that may be because I'm 25 versus 19. Maybe not. I don't know. A lot of people might, say one way or the other, but it's just something that I wanted to mention. And like every time I eat, I'm not hungry, but that's what you've got to do if you want to gain weight. You just have to eat on a routine schedule, and you don't have to be too strict about it. As long as you're not letting yourself get to that point where like your stomach's telling you, okay, yeah, I'm fucking hungry, then you're probably going to gain weight. But I'm trying to gain weight pretty fast. Like, I've gained like 4 pounds the last 2 days, which sounds kind of fucking ridiculous, but according to the scale, that's how much weight I've gained. The next one I wanted to talk about is body odor and pheromones. I've never necessarily been told by anybody that they don't like the way that my body smells. It's usually the opposite. So that's a good sign. I don't really know what else I want to say about this. This is kind of like along the same thing as like the hair stuff. You wash your hair, wash your body, stuff like that. I do use soap on my body. I'm not afraid to use soap. Again, it's another one of those concessions that you make. It's like, do I want to be, a primal caveman avoiding every single toxin possible? Or do I want to be able to smell nice when I'm out in public and I'm interacting with people and I'm trying to meet new people, or just being friendly? You know, people appreciate it when you smell good. Why am I even bringing this up in a video where I'm talking about raw meat? Well, I feel like all of this kind of goes hand in hand. If you eat raw meat, you're going to be thinking about these things too. You're going to be thinking about, do I use soap? Do I do this? Do I do that? I'm going to suggest that you do. Although it is important that we eat a lot of raw meat, I would say it is also important that you have a stable job, that you're able to make friends, and that you're able to conduct yourself normally and function in society. That's definitely an important thing that you guys need to consider. Don't screw your life over because you see this fantasy of, you know, living like a nomad, and just doing nothing but eating raw meat and having no skills and contributing nothing to the world. So I feel like all these things kind of go together, and it sounds funny, but I know a lot of you are probably considering these other topics as well. So that's just my suggestion. The next one, do I wipe my ass? This is along the same lines as kind of the hygiene, pheromone, hair stuff. You hear people like Liver King saying, oh, you don't need to wipe your ass when you eat raw meat.
Let me ask you this. I understand that you don't wipe your asshole. Is that true?
Most of the time, that's true.
Yeah. So I find that really interesting. Your shits are just really like clean.
They're clean. They're crispy.
Crispy.
You know, and you.
Which I will say, again, I'm not trying to sound narcissistic here, but when you eat raw meat and you eat, you know, raw milk, a balanced diet, you're eating organs, lots of fat. That is very true. Like, there is less to wipe. Now, if you just took a crap and it looks like peanut butter, I like to think like, well, what does that look like on the inside of your body? Like, that cannot be good for, you know, the gut-brain connection there. So there's a reason why when you're eating a really clean raw meat diet that you really don't, you should wipe. Don't get me wrong, definitely wipe. But you don't need to wipe quite as much, and you'll notice it too. Trust me on this one, okay?
What's wrong with farting? It's unnatural, as in it's a natural response to an unnatural diet. So it's unnatural in the sense that you shouldn't be doing it, but it is natural when you eat the wrong food.
The next one here. How is your mental state when you eat raw meat? I would say that it has never been more clear. Now, there was a time where it was more clear, and that was when I, you know, first started eating lots of raw meat, particularly raw liver. But your mental state is always going to feel more clear on the raw meat. You're always going to feel sharper. You're going to get less fatigued. You're going to have more patience. It's a really great way to just boost everything. Muscle meat, it's only going to give you that effect for so long until you need to start incorporating the organs, the high meat, the dairy. Those are really going to make you feel amazing. And then there's other protocols that you can follow too, which you can read about in, We Want to Live, or the Recipe for Living Without Disease, or just listening to Augenus Vonderplanitz in general. And that's always where I'd recommend to start. If you guys are going to start anywhere with eating raw meat, definitely try out Augenus's approach first.
Well, here to tell us about the raw meat diet is author of We Want to Live, The Primal Diet, and Recipe for Living Without Disease, Augenus Vonderplanitz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell you what, when I read about your diet that you eat, I was shocked because raw meat in general, we always say don't eat it because it's filled with bacteria that can cause serious illness, even death, salmonella amongst them. So what I want you to come up here and let's talk a little bit about what you eat and why. Come on up. First off, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, no, I would never eat that. I would never eat that. I'd eat that. And I would eat those if they were cooked. So why do you say this is healthy for us?
Well, I was dying of multiple myeloma and lymphoma and stomach cancer 40 years ago. They said I would never be able to eat any raw food again, that if I ate even a banana or an apple that I'd have to steam it. The cancer resurfaced again when I was about 30 years old, and I decided that I was just not going to live through it again because it was very painful. So I ate the raw meat to kill myself, and it did just the opposite. It invigorated me for the first time in my life.
The next one. Let's talk a little bit about the cost of raw meat. How expensive is it? It is not that expensive, guys. Look, a lot of you spend so much money on your food, you don't even realize it. Like if you go out to buy fast food, boom, there's $10, there's $12. However, with raw meat, you can easily eat it for like $10 a day or even less and be fine. Look, I don't live a very active lifestyle right now. I'm eating like a pound of meat a day, some raw eggs, and some, fermented vegetables, and I'm doing fine. And that's like less than freaking $10 a day. So you can definitely do this diet really cheap and not break the bank. Of course, if you want to get the full spectrum of all of the raw foods, you can spend up to like $2,000 a month. And I'm not even kidding. You can really spend a lot of money eating this way if you want to. There's a lot of great foods out there. And the more you spend, the better you will probably feel, the higher quality food that you're going to eat. It just is what it is. I do what I do because it's affordable, it's cheap, it's easy. It is what it is.
Oh my gosh. I've never had anything tastier in my life.
Another thing that I get is, how do you make raw butter? So I've got a video, I made a video on raw butter, but raw butter is very easy to make. All that you need is cream, a kitchen mixer, and some time. And all you do is you turn on the kitchen mixer, leave it on high. After about 15 minutes, you have butter. All you have to do from there is filter out the buttermilk. And then what you'll want to do is keep on rinsing it with fresh water, squeezing out the buttermilk, and then rinse with fresh water again and again. And finally, you have a nice dry butter. These are just some of the things that I have thought about over the past few years. And I feel like they're relevant. Not all of them are specifically about raw meat, but I feel like they do go hand in hand with just lifestyle in general. But if you guys are curious to learn more, or you have questions about a particular topic and you're wanting to know my perspective, just leave a comment down in the comment section below, and then I will definitely either respond to you or maybe even make a video about that topic as well. But yeah, it's been nice talking to you guys again, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Look at my high meat that I'm going to eat with a screwdriver. Okay, I've had way too much high meat now.